Hi, hello. Welcome again to my class. In this class, we are going to discuss chapter 1 real numbers for class 10. And we are going to discuss questions from the question papers from this chapter. Okay. So, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and do like the video if you like my class and share it with your friends. So, let us start the class now. First question is prove that root 2 is irrational. First, we'll assume that root 2 is rational. Then, we have to prove that it is not true. Root 2 is not rational, which means root 2 is irrational. For that, first we are assuming root 2 is rational. Okay, so if root 2 is rational, root 2 can be expressed as p by q, where p and q are coprimes and q not equal to 0, right? We have seen that a rational number is a number which can be expressed as p by q, where p and q are coprimes and q not equal to 0. So we have written root 2 equal to p by q and q not equal to 0. P and q are coprimes also. So when you square this, when you square the left hand side, you have to square the right hand side also. So root 2 square is 2. 2 equal to p square by q square. So p square equal to 2q square. That is cross multiplying. You will get p square equal to 2q square, right? P square into 1 equal to 2q square, which means p square equal to 2q square. So we have p square equal to 2q square means p square equal to 2 into some number. That is, p is divisible by 2. If a number is 2 into something, then it is divisible by 2, right? So, we have got that p square is divisible by 2, which means if p square is divisible by 2, let us say if 4 square, that is 16 is divisible by 2, then 4 is also divisible by 2. Right? So, p square is divisible by 2, which means p is divisible by 2. So, p can be written as 2 into some number r. Right? So, p equal to 2r. We got p equal to 2r. Now, substitute that here. P in place of p, substitute 2r. So, we got 4r square equal to, in place of p, we have written 2r. 2r the whole square equal to 2q square. That is p square equal to 2q square. So, p equal to 2r means when you square that, you will get 4r square. 4r square equal to 2q square. You can write this as 2q square equal to 4r square, right? This is the same as 2q square equal to 4r square, which means q square equal to 2r square. That is, q square is divisible by 2. So, if q square is divisible by 2, q is also divisible by 2. That is, p is divisible by 2 and q is divisible by 2, which means 2 is a factor of p and q. What does that mean? It means p and q are not coprimes. So, this contradicts our assumption that p and q are coprimes, which means our assumption that root 2 is rational is wrong. From this, we can say that root 2 is an irrational number. This method can be used to prove root 3 is irrational, root 5 is irrational, and so on. The roots of all imperfect squares are irrational. So, root 2 is irrational, root 3 is irrational, root 4 is not irrational because root 4 equal to 2, which is a rational number. Then root 5 is irrational, root 6 is irrational, root 7 irrational, root 8 irrational, root 9 is not irrational, root 9 is rational because root of 9 equal to 3. Okay, understood? So, by this method, we can prove that root of an imperfect square is an irrational number. Okay, now we'll prove root 5 is irrational by this method. Same method. Okay, we have to prove that root 5 is irrational. For that, first assume that root 5 is rational. So, root 5 can be expressed as p by q, where p and q are coprimes and q not equal to 0. Which means squaring this, you will get 5 equal to p square by q square, which means p square equal to 5q square. That is cross multiplying, you will get p square equal to 5q square, which means p square is divisible by 5 and that means p is divisible by 5. Now you have to prove q square is divisible by 5, which means q is divisible by 5. We'll see how we'll do that. Now p is divisible by 5 means p can be expressed as 5 into some number r. Okay, so p can be expressed as 5 into some number r. P equal to 5R. So we are substituting that in place of P. So P square equal to 5Q square becomes 5R square equal to 5Q square. 5R the whole square equal to 5Q square. So 25R square equal to 5Q square. This is same as 5Q square equal to 25R square, right? So what is Q square? Q square equal to 25R square by 5, which is equal to 5R square. So we got Q square equal to 5R square, which means Q square is divisible by 5. If Q square is divisible by 5, Q is divisible by 5. So we got P and Q are divisible by 5, which means P and Q are not co-primes. That is, they don't have any factors in common. Okay, so the assumption that P and Q are co-primes was wrong. Our assumption is wrong that P and Q are co-primes, which means the assumption that root 5 is a rational number is wrong. That is, root 5 is an irrational number. So you can prove these type of questions by this method. Understood? This is very easy. Now, next question is prove that 3 plus root 5 is an irrational number. So first we have to prove that root 5 is an irrational number. The method we have used before, that is, assume that root 5 is rational and then we have proved root 5 is irrational. Now to prove 3 plus root 5 is irrational, just assume 3 plus root 5 is rational. So it can be expressed as P by Q. So what is root 5? Root 5 equal to P by Q minus 3. When you subtract 3 from P by Q, you will get P minus 3Q by Q. And this is a rational number. P and Q are co-primes. So P minus 3Q by Q will be rational. But we have seen that root 5 is an irrational number. So how can this be? Root 5 be equal to P minus 3Q by Q? That is, an irrational number cannot be equal to a rational number, which contradicts our assumption that 3 plus root 5 is a rational number. From this we can say that 3 plus root 5 is an irrational number. Okay, next prove that 7 plus 2 root 3 is an irrational number. If 7 plus 2 root 3 is rational, then it can be expressed as P by Q. So 2 root 3 will become P by Q minus 7. So what is root 3? Root 3 equal to P by Q minus 7 by 2, right? So root 3 is equal to P minus 7Q by 2Q. But root 3 is an irrational number. But since P and Q are co-primes, P minus 7Q by 2Q will be a rational number. So how can an irrational number? We have proved that root 3 is irrational. So how can an irrational number be equal to a rational number? We have seen that this is a rational number, but this is an irrational number. An irrational number cannot be equal to a rational number. So this contradicts our assumption that 7 plus 2 root 3 is rational. From this we can say that 7 plus 2 root 3 is an irrational number. Okay, now we'll see questions from the question papers from the topic how to find HCF of two or three numbers by applying Euclid's division lemma. Okay, first question is find the HCF of 240 and 228 by using Euclid's division lemma. Euclid's division lemma is nothing but division formula that we have already studied in lower classes. Dividend equal to divisor into quotient plus remainder. By using this theorem, we can find HCF of two numbers. We'll see how we can do that. First, the bigger number becomes the dividend and the smaller number becomes the divisor. You will get 1 as the quotient and 228. So 12 is the remainder. Now this becomes the divisor and this becomes the dividend. So write this here as the dividend, and when you divide this, 22 by 12 is 1 and 12. So remainder is 10, and bring this 8 down. So 108. 108 by 12 is 9. So a remainder is 0, which means 19 is the quotient and 12 is the divisor. So this 12 becomes the HCF. The last divisor is the HCF of the numbers. So 12 is the HCF of 240 and 228. We can use this method to find HCF of three numbers also. So what you have to do is find the HCF of the bigger numbers first. So 324 becomes the dividend and 252 becomes the divisor. And when you divide this, you will get 1 and 252. So remainder is 72. So this becomes the divisor and 252 is the dividend. So when you divide, you will get 3 as the quotient and 216. 72 into 3 is 216. So the remainder is 36 and bring this 72 as the dividend. So 36 into 2 is 72. So the remainder is 0. So this 36 is the HCF of these two numbers. By the same method, we can find the HCF of 180 and 250. So how will we do that? We can see that now. So here 252 divided by 180, you will get 1 as the quotient and 180. So when you subtract this, you will get 72 as the remainder. And now 180 becomes the dividend and 72 is the divisor. 72 will go in 180 two times. So 2 is the quotient and 2 into 72 is 144. You will get the remainder as 36. Now 72 becomes the dividend again. So 72 by 36 is quotient is 2 and remainder is 0, which means 36 is the HCF of 252 and 180 also. So we can say that 36 is the HCF of 180, 252 and 320. Okay. Next is find the HCF of 4025 and 1656. 656 will go in 4025 two times and 1656 into 2 is 3312. Okay. Now remainder is 713 and this becomes the divisor and take this 1656 as the dividend. Now 713 will go in 1656 two times and 713 into 2 is 1426. Now what is the remainder? 230. 230 is the remainder. Now 230 becomes the divisor and 713 is the dividend. So 713 by 230 is 3 and 230 into 3 is 690. 713 minus 690 is 23. So 23 becomes the new divisor and this 230 becomes the new dividend. And 23 will go in 230 10 times and 0 is the remainder, which means 23 is the HCF of 1656 and 4025. Understood. So with this, I am winding up this video. I'll be uploading some more questions from the question papers from this chapter and the other chapters also. So stay tuned for that. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and do like the video if you liked my class and share it with your friends. So thank you and bye.